Hello and welcome to the program Face to Face. Mine is a memory, you are nothing but your past. These are the words of my guest today, Uppaluri Gopal Krishnamurti, better known as UG, one of India's most enigmatic thinkers. UG claims he has no message for mankind, no answers to fundamental questions. He is the anti-guru who offers no hope, no peace, yet he attracts followers the world over. UG is an enigmatic puzzle. His story has no finale. On July the 9th, 1967, in Sarnen, Switzerland, on his 49th birthday, UG Krishnamurti died physically. What brought about his death? What brought him back to life? These are questions that only UG, in his inimitable way, can answer. Hello, UG.
You have put me in a very delicate situation. And before I say anything, I would like to say something very clearly, that when we are saying something, what actually goes on here is like a tape recorder. It is just recording everything that you are saying. There is nobody there who is translating. That is how the physical body functions. There is a talker there who is talking, and you think there is a listener there who is listening all the time. But here, there is no talker and there is no listener here.
Are you referring to your death?
No, I'll come to that, you see. So, my basic question for decades and decades was this: is there a mind there? Is there a center there? Is there a self there? Is there anything called I there? And I searched for that, studied, and lived with the spiritual teachers, but nobody helped me. I did everything possible to find out an answer for this basic question: is there anything there at all? Is there a mind? I studied psychology, and I got no answers from the psychologists either. I rejected psychology, I rejected religious thinking, I rejected everything, but yet I found no answer for this question.
Can I ask you to repeat the question that you were looking to find an answer for? Is there a mind?
Is there a mind? Is there a self there? Is there a psyche? Is there a center? Is there anything there at all? And nobody helped me to find an answer for that question.
So have you found an answer?
I don't think I found an answer for that question at all. For years and years, I wanted to be an enlightened man, because that was the environment in which I was brought up. And yet I found that the claimants to that enlightenment, or whatever they called it, didn't give any satisfactory answers to me. And then, because of that demand to be an enlightened man, what I found myself therein, I am not an enlightened person.
You say you're not enlightened.
No, you see, the question of enlightenment does not arise anymore, because I know for certain that there is no such thing as enlightenment at all. This was the thing that really hit me so hard when, as you mentioned, on my 49th birthday, I sat under a tree and said to myself, what you have wanted all your life, you are already there in that state, you are an enlightened man. And then naturally a question arose, demanding an answer: how the hell do you know that you are an enlightened man? Until yesterday you were telling yourself that you want to be an enlightened man, and now you think that you are an enlightened man, and you are no different from all those enlightened people. So the question that propped up there inside of me how the hell do you know that you are an enlightened man? So the same knowledge that I had before, which told me, now you are not an enlightened man, and this is the way an enlightened man functions in this world, and today you tell yourself that you are an enlightened man. The question whirled there inside of me, and suddenly the question stopped there. So the interest whether to find out I am an enlightened man or enlightened man disappeared totally, and what was left after that is something which I really don't know. People ask me the question, you are not an enlightened man, you are not a guru, you are not a transferred man, you are not this, that and the other. Who the hell are you? My answer to that question is, I wish I knew. Because there is no way I can tell myself this is me. So that is true of you also there. Because you want to be something other than what you are. The oughtness, the shouldness, the mustness is all that creates what you call you there. Quite the opposite of what you would like to be, what you should be, what you ought to be, and what you must be.
But on whose standards do you say that? By whose standards do you say that I want to be something that I'm not?
Because what you see there is quite the opposite of what you would like to be.
But isn't a lot of life about perception of things?
You see, I don't want to use these philosophical terms, perception, pure perception. There is no perception there without a perceiver. The perceiver is you, created by your culture, society, or whatever you want to call, which is born out of the knowledge you have of yourself and what you should be like and what you must be. I don't know if it makes any sense to you.
It's a little difficult to follow, actually. Tell us something about your basic teachings, and when people come to you and they want to know answers and things, what do you tell them?
I tell them, get lost and stay lost.
So why do they follow you then?
You should ask them, why do they come? They keep coming day after day, month after month, year after year.
It's because they just enjoy the fact that you destroy every single normal concept that people have.
They still think that I'm saying the same things in a different way. I belong to different times, but basically I'm saying what the great teachers said before. And there were two pontiffs visited me once in India. Pontiffs, real pontiffs. The Indian pontiffs, not the Christian pontiffs. Somebody said Yuji is a universal God. The other fellow said he's a useless guy. Because we get nothing from him. What he is saying cannot be translated into any framework that we have known so far. But yet we have this problem. The problem is that we cannot brush him aside and say that what he's saying is absolutely nonsense. But even those psychiatrists who come to see me, the psychologists, the scientists who come to see me out of their curiosity, they assure me that what you are saying seems to be very true, but we want to believe that you are wrong.
So what are you saying then?
What I am saying is what you are saying. I am not saying anything. Let us not turn this into a mystifying thing. This computer, I would like to stick to this analogy or simile of a computer here. This is just a computer. And whatever is there is what is put in by the culture.
You're talking about a human being.
A human being that applies to you and to me here too. So when you are asking the questions, the answers that are coming out of me are not my answers. I give you the example of a computer, the word tank which I have. You put in 20, 30, 40, 50 names there and the telephone numbers at random. And you want to find out a particular name and a particular telephone number. You press the button, they come in the alphabetical order. So you press the button again and ask a question, it says it's searching. So actually it is not searching anything. Your thinking also is exactly the same process that is going on there, because there is nobody who is thinking. But you think that there is a thinker just the way it is searching.
You're saying that the answers that we come out with are part of our social conditioning and our upbringing, but it's not really your own thought that's coming out.
Nothing. There is no thought which I can call my own. There is no experience which I can call my own. There is no feeling which I can call my own. But we are interested in separating the feelings and putting them on a higher level than just the intellectual thoughts. But there is no way you can experience a feeling unless you give a name to it and call it you are happy, you are unhappy, you are bored, you are not bored.
What are your views on happiness, Eugene? Do you think that we can be happy, human beings can be happy in this world?
It is just impossible to be happy always. Let me tell you one thing. I have been everywhere in the world. I have seen people, and the one thing that people are really interested in anywhere, everywhere, whether they are Americans or Russians or Chinese or Indians, the one thing that they are interested in is how to be happy always without one moment of unhappiness, how to have pleasure without pain at all. It is just impossible because this living organism does not know what happiness is like. It is not interested in keeping that sensation of happiness longer than the natural duration of its life. So it is a very painful thing, it is throwing out. And so that is why you are unhappy, that is why you are painful.
I do agree with you there. I think we do know very well what happiness is. I mean, happiness is something that makes you have good feelings.
But it is all right, you can have good feelings, you can feel happy, but the demand to keep that lasting forever is really the problem. That is not what is impossible.
It is impossible, but we still aspire to it because it makes us feel good.
Yeah, but you feel good, it is a feeling good, that's all that is there, and you are left with the hope that one day, through some miracle or through the help of somebody, you will be able to stay happy forever and ever.
You actually grew up in a very religious sort of family background. You come from a Brahmin family.
Yes.
So do you believe in religion today?
No, religion is responsible for the man's tragedy. It is not that I am anti-religious or any such thing, but religion has not helped us to be what we are. The problem with religion is that it has created a model and placed before us that that's the way we should all be. And that model unfortunately happens to be the model of all the great spiritual teachers from time immemorial. What we are doing all the time is to fit ourselves into that model and become that models. And it is that is responsible for the man's tragedy. We may have, and as some people have succeeded in freeing themselves from the religious stranglehold, but yet we are caught up in the same ethical codes of conduct, the legal structure we are operating in is no different from the religious conditioning of the human being.
Yes, but if you don't have those kind of parameters in society, then what you're talking about is just total anarchy, everybody doing what they want.
There is, in spite of all that anarchy today here, in spite of all the attempts that we are making to keep that a going thing, we have not succeeded. Tomorrow we are going to succeed, and we live in that hope and die in that hope.
Well, yes, I'm not saying that we have achieved the ideal, but surely there has to be an ideal that you work towards, because otherwise man is a very selfish person. Everyone would just live for themselves.
The hope
and we would just be living in a glorified jungle.
No, this is already a jungle. What is there for us to be proud of? You think this is not a jungle?
Well, you've obviously sort of disassociated yourself.
I have not dissociated
from
myself.
The world.
No, not at all. Not at all. I am not in conflict with this world, because the world cannot be any different. The dream of creating a paradise on this planet or a heaven on this planet is the one that is responsible for creating hell on this planet.
So how would you like to see society?
I do not want the society to be any different, because I am not in conflict with that society.
Mm-hmm.
So you seem to be in conflict with the society because you are in conflict with yourself. Why there is that conflict in you is because the idea that you should fit yourself into that value system created by that society, and so you are fighting all the time, struggling and using tremendous energy to fit yourself into that framework. You have so far not succeeded, and so, as I always say, you live in hope and die in hope.
So do I understand then that you're telling me I should be doing and living exactly the way I like without worrying about what society dictates to me?
Not for a moment. I am not saying that at all. There is nothing more than what you are doing. There is nothing else you can do. I don't know if it makes any sense. Obviously not.
It's a little difficult to understand, I must admit.
Yeah.
But you have such controversial ideas, yet people keep coming to you to ask you, your views on things. How does it feel? Does it give you a kind of power?
No. It doesn't give me any power, you see. I only want to tell them that no useful purpose will be served by carrying on any conversation with me. And yet they come day after day, and they hang around me, hoping one day to understand. I am telling them all the time, there is nothing to understand here.
So then why do you, for example, accept coming on a television program like this? I mean, what is your objective in doing a program like this if you say you've got nothing to say?
No, there is a motive here, and there is no such thing as a motiveless action at all. Since you invited me, I accepted this invitation to appear on your face-to-face and use you as a medium to express whatever I want to express. And what I have found for myself and by myself is something extraordinary. And that has freed from the totality of everything everybody thought, felt and experienced before me. As I said a while ago, this has never been the part of my experiencing structure. The experiencing structure cannot play any role in my actions or in my expression of what I am trying to put across. So if somebody out there, any one of your listeners who is going through the same problem, finding no answers for his questions, still hoping and dreaming one day through the help of somebody, he will be able to find answers, or that particular teacher, he has tremendous faith and invested his faith in that teacher will help him to solve his problems. He would stop in the tracks, and then there is something to what this man is saying. If it hits him, probably he will find out the answer for himself and by himself.
But if we all stopped thinking and stopped asking questions, where would there be progress in this world?
You are not asking any questions. You don't want any answers for your questions, because all the questions you are asking are born out of the answers already you have. You are not satisfied with the answers. Otherwise, why should you ask questions? For example, the question of God. For centuries, man has believed in God. But why do they still ask questions about God? They are not sure that there is God. But yet they are made to believe that there is God, and they have accepted that there is a God, and go to the temples, churches, mosques, whatever their particular religion is, and pray.
Do you believe there is an afterlife?
See, what I say about reincarnation cannot interest anybody. My position is that I always repeat this, that if you think there is reincarnation, if you believe, it is a belief. So if you do not believe in reincarnation, there is no reincarnation. In other words, there is reincarnation for those who believe in reincarnation, and there is no reincarnation for those who do not believe in reincarnation.
So it's basically just a creation of man's mind.
A belief. Because you do not want all that you have done, all your life, all your achievements, all your experiences are coming to an end. So you cannot accept the fact all that you have done in your life is coming to an end. And so there must be something that will continue to live after you are.
What is your personal belief?
I do not believe in reincarnation at all.
So tell us...
For the simple reason that my approach to that problem, and if anybody is really interested in finding out an answer to that question, is there any such thing as reincarnation, they have to find out what is there now at this moment that will reincarnate. So you will be surprised if you go at it with all the energy, tremendous energy, at that basic problem. It is not really a problem for many people. They believe in it or they don't believe in it. And you will be surprised that very recently a person came to see me. And she said, I was Isidora Duncan in my previous life. I am delighted. But unfortunately, you look like the ugliest duckling that I have seen in my entire life. She was upset, of course. I didn't say it in so many words. And you can believe in anything you like.
So basically, man can believe anything about himself that he wants.
Anything he wants to believe.
And do you think that if you believe great things about yourself, you can become great?
It takes time. You see, my answer to all those questions is very simple. You mentioned man will remain a selfish being. For centuries we have been trying to be free from selfishness. So this is how you are going to be free from your selfishness. The answer is in selfishness, not in selflessness at all. You are not ready to accept this. You are going to be a selfless person tomorrow, the day after, next year, 10 years after, and then your next life. Until then, you will remain a selfish man. So what I am going to do with the selfishness? You and I are two selfish beings, and we deal with this selfishness, and the person who says that I am a selfless person just is trying to hoodwink you and hoodwink himself.
Oh, I find it very difficult to accept. With due respect, Yuji, I mean, human beings, we people do selfless things and generous things for other people at some time. You can't say that you're trying to hoodwink someone.
No, it is just to do gooders high. You feel good.
A mother does selfless things for her children.
For her own sake. All mothers are monsters, I say. Not one single exception. It may sound very funny.
You're sitting in front of your mother here, and I'm sorry, I agree with you. I think I have done many things in my life.
And fathers don't count at all, and children are no angels.
Okay, tell me, Yuji, I want to really come to this point. I want to ask you this question. It is said that you say that you died when you were 49 years old in
What is left after the disappearance of that question is something which I will never know. There is no way I can tell myself that I am a living person here.
But you eat, you sleep, you walk about, you come on television.
But you are the one that says that I am alive, that I am answering. There is no way I can tell myself that I am a living being, because this is something which can never become part of my experience. If you ask me the question, are you alive, I would certainly answer saying that I am very much alive like anybody else. But the fact that I am alive is something which cannot be experienced by me. So if I want to experience what we call a living individual's functioning, it is only through the help of the knowledge that is given to us by the physiologists, by the doctors.
Do you ever have any feelings? Do you feel anything? Do you feel angry,
people call
passionate about anything? Do you have feelings?
What kind of feelings you are talking about?
As I said,
do you
ever feel angry about anything? Do you ever feel thrilled about something?
My answer is no. My answer is no. You see, a living thing never asks those questions at all. A living being never asks the question, is there any meaning or purpose of life? That is too ridiculous, too absurd to ask a question, because it's only the dead structure that is interested in. Has invented these things called the meaning of life and purpose of life, and if he wants to know, he or she, or it as the case may be, wants to know the purpose and meaning of life. Whatever purpose is there, it is already there. Whatever meaning is there is already there.
So do you believe in karma then?
You are asking me standard questions. My answer to all of them is no, 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 no.
What do you believe in? Let me ask you that.
It's very difficult because I don't have to believe in anything. Why do I have to believe? The problem for us here is that we are separating the belief from what you call you. What I am trying to emphasize is that there is no believer there, but there is only a belief there. And the belief is what is put in there by culture. So you cannot be without belief. You will naturally replace one belief with another belief. That's all that you can do. But what exactly is belief? How is belief separate from you? That is the question which I ask, There is no believer there.
So in fact you are not offering any answers, you are asking the questions.
I am not asking the questions, I am asking you why you are asking the questions. As a matter of fact, you do not want any answers to that questions at all. You see people who are asking all these questions, they want confirmation. So the only thing that they want to know is whether I am confirming what answers they already have. If I don't confirm, they reject. That's all that they can do. They either accept what I am saying because it fits into the framework of the answers which they already have. They reject because it doesn't fit into the answers they have. So they either have to reject or accept. But what I tell them is that you are not in a position either to accept or reject because you are not listening to anything. You don't want any answers to your questions. If there is any answer to any question, the question should disappear. Since the questions are born out of the answers you already have, the answers go with it. So the answers and you are not different from that. When answers go, you as you know yourself and you as you experience yourself also go with it. What you are left with is something which you will never know. You will never be able to give expression to it. So whatever has happened to me is not in the field of the experiencing structure. So there is no way I can share this with anybody. What all I tell the people who come to see me is a very simple thing. You don't need those crutches. Throw those crutches away. You can walk. That certainty I have, I can assure you and reassure you all the time, you don't need crutches at all. Please, for goodness sake, throw those crutches away. But don't ask me to replace them with another set of crutches or go in for some sophisticated kind of crutches. Even if you fall, I know that you will rise and continue to walk.
Is there any one culture or community that you have seen have come closest to the ideal that you would like to see?
It all depends upon what exactly you mean by culture and how you define culture. When I use the word culture, I say that it is your way of living and your way of thinking.
Or is there people that you think have come closest to the ideal of the way you'd like to see people live?
No, I don't want anybody to be anything different than what actually they are. I am perfectly satisfied with the world exactly the way it is because it cannot be any bit different.
Mm-hmm.
So I know very well that there is nothing that I can do as an individual. Collective action means war. My way and your way. And your way is all that you are interested in, or my way is all that I am interested in. There is no such thing as our way at all. And when people come with their personal problems, I tell them there is no such thing as our way in the relationship between the husband and wife, in the girlfriend and the boyfriend. There is no such thing as our way, either your way or his way. But you have to have certain compromises and make it a go of your living for whatever reason you are trying to live.
Do you believe
try to create our way? Sorry,
I was going to ask you, do you believe in marriage? Do you believe in relationships?
Marriage is an outdated institution, but it is not so easy to do away with the institution of marriage. It is not the marriage that is really the problem in relationships between a man and a woman, the possessiveness. That's the most important thing. You can possess property, you can possess ideas, you can possess tremendous amount of knowledge. You cannot possess a living being at all. And so, I always tell people, you are a very beautiful woman. And somebody makes a pass at you, sorry to be personal like this, and if your husband does not kill that fellow, something wrong with him, he's a sick man, that's a very natural thing. Don't teach them to practice non-jealousy at all. Mm-hmm. So that is a very natural thing. So the possessiveness is the most important thing. I possess my wife. That is why if somebody makes a pass at, if a beautiful woman, if she is very attractive, what's wrong with others getting attracted to that, making passes with it? It is for her to make anything out of that, deal with the problem.
But I mean, there's a practical reason for this concept. Because otherwise,
it is just like any other property. You have a house and then you have a wife, you have a husband, that's all that we are interested in. But you are not going to do away with the institution of marriage at all. Somewhere along the line, see, the question pops up, are you going to marry me? I have known a lot of unwed couples in my life. They come to see me. Unwed couples are more miserable than married couples. Not only that, there are so many things are involved. The marriage institution is disgusting only in one sense, because it is like any other possessive element in our lives. It's a contract, you see. So it has lost all its charm there. It is not such an easy thing to create relationships on any other basis. The possessiveness is the most important factor in keeping these institutions going.
Have you ever been married, Gigi?
Yeah, I was married and had 4 children, but my wife died almost 33 years ago.
Do you think, was it a fulfilling marriage?
No, we had this basic problem. I always told her, long before this Tina Turner's song, What Love Has Got to Do, became so popular, what love has got to do with our relationship. She didn't like that at all. You see, the love does not play any role in relationships at all. When we find that it is not a satisfactory relationship, we want to reassure ourselves and reassure everybody that I love you, darling. What the hell do you have to say? Reassure yourself and reassure others, because the relationships are falling apart.
But it
is not the contract of marriage that is the most important thing. The difficulty of living together is the basic problem. The real problem is that you should live like this. You see, it must be an ideal, perfect, happy marriage.
Do you believe in love?
Love? You're asking me a very delicate question. My answer is love is nothing but a 4-lettered word.
Have you ever been in love? Have you ever felt anything more than just the
Probably I was infatuated with my wife for the first 6 months of my marriage. And then I realized that it was just, you see, a drag.
You've never felt more than that for any human being?
No, the moment you introduce the element of love, you are creating a division there. And all your life you are trying to create a loving relationship, and a constant amount of energy is put into that, and it is just, you see, an idea that we have.
No, I disagree with you. I mean, I have experienced emotions of good feeling towards another human being where I wasn't imposing my own selfish desires. I mean, love is a state of mind where you want to do something for the other person.
Why do you have to call it love?
It's a name. I mean, we have to use.
No, it's
we
not.
have to use a vocabulary, a language.
It's not just the name. It's not just the word. You see, the image that is there around that word, that is questionable to me.
Do you think that it's possible to love one human being throughout your life?
If you stop loving yourself, then it is possible to love others also. Not in the sense in which you are using the word. I would never say I love anybody. So love and hate go together. You see, you use love as the last card in the pack when things go wrong. And when that fails, what you are left with is hate. You may not use that word hate, but indifference to the relationship creeps into the picture, and it is not the same. So you have to reassure yourself.
So you think that's perfectly natural?
Perfectly natural.
For love and hate to be so.
You see, the problem there is we are not looking at the real issue there. The living together is not an easy thing at all. The moment you introduce the element of how to live, you see, a perfect harmonious relationship, you have created a problem there. Then only it will be possible for you to look at this and deal with this. Why there is this disharmony? Why should we bother about creating a loving, harmonious relationship?
But then how does society function? I mean, everybody lives independent.
You are living an isolated life of your own. You are not in harmony with the society at all. We are using the society only for some purposes for which it is not intended. So then only, if you are not caught up, you see, I want to use that word, between right and wrong, good and bad. You cannot do anything wrong, you cannot do anything bad. As long as you are caught up in these two, you will always do something wrong, because you are only interested in doing the right thing and good thing all your life. And the fight that is going on between the two is exhausting you. You are losing tremendous amount of energy, and that is all that we are.
So then what is the answer? What should you be doing? You should be doing what you want to do above everything else,
what you have,
or what you feel you instinctively feel that
you don't have anything calling your own. You don't have anything. What we are asked to do, we are doing. What we are made to believe, we are doing. So you are not doing anything what you want to do. You will be surprised when you are freed from what you should do, what you must not do, what you ought to do, and all that is thrown out of your system. You will do things in a very natural way.
It's been really interesting talking to you, Eugene. So let me just ask you a final question.
Yes.
Can you give us in a nutshell what you think ought to be the philosophy of living?
I never asked that question. I don't have any answer for that question. Live the life to live its own life. That's all there is to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me on face to face. And I don't know how your viewers will like this.
I'm sure they'll find it very interesting. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Well, that was an interview with U.G. Krishnamurti, philosopher, teacher, and one of the most controversial thinkers of our time. I hope you enjoyed it, listening to him. And that's all for now, but I'll be with you next week. Bye.